Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, whenever this gets released. I am meadsy69 and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered what it's like to come up against bots? Now, I know Wargaming have implemented this newbie matchmaking, and I say that, you know, when you hold your two fingers up and sort of newbie. I don't think, I mean, it's a good thing that Wargaming have added this to the game. Basically, what the newbie matchmaking is anyone that doesn't do very well, and I mean, to get into this matchmaking, you have to do really, really bad. Which I think, so they pretty much have put in all the bad people together. Of course, we are going to have bad people, bad players in the normal matchmaking, because I should imagine they don't quite fit the criteria to get into this newbie matchmaking. Now, what I don't like is the fact that new players get into this newbie matchmaking, which I mean, it's what, 5,000 games. Anyone with sort of 5,500 battles can be in this matchmaking. Now, this has caused a lot of people to re-roll, and a lot of people are re-rolling, and they are getting mega damage because of this bot matchmaking. Now, not every battle has bots. So we're going to watch 11 here from the Storm clan. Now, he has sub 5,000 battles, so without a doubt he's re-rolled. I've got no bad feelings about anyone that re-rolls. Maybe they, on their main account, it took them too long to learn the game, and they weren't happy with their stats. So I don't mind people re-rolling at all. It's not their fault Wargaming has implemented this into the game. So we're going to watch a couple of battles. This one here is, I mean, he does a great job, don't get me wrong, just because it's newbie matchmaking. I don't think he's against any bots here. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think he's just against sort of some bad players. However, the next game we're going to watch is actually against some bots, like real bots, and we're going to show you how we know that when we watch that battle. So here we're watching the Emil 1. Now, the Emil 1 is already a fantastically strong tank. So when you're up against the people that don't really know how to play the game, it becomes even stronger. So we're on Castilla, and he's going to get a Hall of Fame game, damage game in this tank. But unfortunately for him, because of Blitz Stars, which I think is fantastic, they have implemented a way where you can't upload a Hall of Fame if you have less than 5,500 battles, because that actually stops people farming damage just to get Hall of Fame battles, which I think Sock Robber, a good friend of mine, old clanmate who actually owns Blitz Stars, I think that's a fantastic thing to add into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, people with below 5,500 battles, they probably don't like it. But it stops everyone sort of re-rolling just to get these high damage games. Now, I've never ever hit 8,000 games. I'm pretty much nearly 70k battles, and I've never hit 8,000 damage. If I would play properly and actually try, I could probably hit it, no problem. Especially with after the heavy buff with the hit points, I could probably get it, but I just don't play enough to try and get that high damage. Where now you're seeing this game here, his damage is higher than my highest ever damage in tier 10. So yeah, you can do it. You can do big damage. So we're going to watch the rest of the game from 11. And he hasn't actually had to move all game. He's got into this position. Now, on Castilla, this position is very strong. It depending on what the enemy tanks do. Now, if they all go sort of to the castle, then it's not so good position. But if they all go to the sort of the heavy hill, this can be a very strong position indeed. And he's going to showcase that with this battle. He hasn't had to move, and he's farmed up 5k damage. God knows what that T49 was doing up there, and he's actually a real player, because yeah, I mean, look, there we go. Fudge you, Emil. How dare you shoot me, Emil? Fudge you. He carries on talking during the battle as well towards the end. So at the moment it is a 3 versus 3. He's got 5.2k damage, and now it is a 2 versus 3. So he's being pushed by the Waffle, the T49. Obviously, he's annoyed, so he's going to go for the Emil, and also there is the E75 TS there as well. May I add again, there's a player who has not got a clue, and he's driving a premium tank, a very strong premium tank. So he's actually going to ignore the E75, and there we go, he goes for the T49. What the fuck, says the T49, and what he says next I just thought was absolutely amazing. Next time I'm targeting every Emil I see. Good for you, T49. Good for you. So his last teammate on his team, I believe he's AFK. He hasn't moved all game, so he's up against these two tanks on his own. But you know what? When you're in bot matchmaking, it's when you've got a strong tank, you really can carry the team. And God knows what that Waffle was doing there, but he missed, and he pays the price. So it's just now him against this E75 TS, and as we already seen, this E75 TS just doesn't really have a clue how to play. In the bot matchmaking, in the newbie matchmaking, it is a bit difficult. You can't really farm this damage up when you're in a tank with no armor, because even though they're not that great players, they can still easily penetrate you. But when you're in a tank like the Emil, or any tank with sort of strong armor, excuse me, Object 252U maybe, you got the WZ121FT, the Chinese TD, which is really strong. You can do these kind of damages because people just don't know how to deal with you, especially when they don't know how to play. So easy battle there. I mean, look how easy that battle there was for 11. 2,700 block damage because no one could pen him, and he finishes on 8,200 damage in a tier 8 tank. Absolutely incredible. I'm not taking away the fact that he did a good job. He'd done a fantastic job, but it helped with actually no one knowing how to freaking penetrate him. So next up we have this Ultra, and he is driving the T43. Now if you look at the team, you can see some people don't have any avatars. You can't see it on the enemy team because the way I've cropped the team, but he has 3 people on his team that's not in a clan and has no avatar. Now these people are actually real life bots. Now there is 6 bots in this team, in this game, 3 on each team. So he is a fairly new player, or a new account. He has around 200 battles, so he's actually going to come up against quite a few bots. Now what do you make of this? Like, should Wargaming cap this out? Should they only do it for a few games? I don't know if when after the update it was supposed to be sort of 30 battles against the sort of bots, and then it goes into normal games. So I don't know if that's the case, but I still think, like, after a couple of 100 games, you shouldn't be coming up against any bots really. Like 230 games, he's in a tier 7, for God's sake. He's in a tier 7. Obviously he knows how to play, and that's, I don't know if he's doing this for a reroll. He's definitely a reroll. People don't play like this after 200 games when you haven't ever played the game before, unless you're coming from sort of what PC. Who knows? But you know, we can't hate on rerolls. We can't hate on rerolls at all. Some people take a while to get good at the game, as I've said, and then by then it just the stats don't match their actual ability, which is why I always say, like, don't hate on these 40%ers. Like, it could have taken them quite a few thousand games to learn the game, and by then it's just going to be difficult to get the stats up because they've played too many games. But battles like this, when there's 6 bots in tier 7, I don't think there should be any bots in tier 7. Sort of up to tier 5. After tier 5, there shouldn't be any bots whatsoever. So I'm definitely glad that you can't upload these games into the Hall of Fame unless you have 5,500 battles, because it doesn't show the true battle as such when you're up against bots. People could say, when people do say, oh look, he was up against bots, blah blah blah, yeah, he was up against bots, but you could also say he had bots on his team as well. So it's basically a 4 versus 4 at this point, because there is 3 bots on each team. So he could fight that and say, look, I only had 4 teammates and we was up against 4 teammates. So I'm in a tank with pretty much no armor. So they do kind of have the advantage. So now he's on 3.4k damage, 1 kill, and he is now alone against 4 people. But of course, a few of these are bots. But bots are still implemented to be able to shoot you. And when you're in a, fair enough, they don't shoot very well, but they still can shoot you and they can still do damage. So you have to bear in mind that if you are going to reroll up against bots, you can't just run up against the bot and expect not to be shot, because you can still be shot. So if Wargaming are going to add these bots, I'll really or keep these bots in these higher tier levels, then I do really hope they sort of adjust the bots, because they can set the level of the bots. They can set it to sort of easy, medium, hard, etc. So it would be good to put them sort of at the harder level, so they're still not a professional player as such, still not like a 60% player, but the bots still kind of know what they're doing. So 3.9k damage now. The KV2 is there, who is actually a real player, and he manages to get that bounce. So he's bounced to 640, he's still on full hit points, and now there is this AMX M445 to deal with, who is actually getting some damage from. So he's just gonna be he's just gonna circle this guy, and he's got the hit points, he has the DPM to deal with him. He just can't lose too many hit points, because that's more embarrassing. What's more embarrassing than either getting a Hall of Fame game against bots or actually losing against bots? I know what I wouldn't prefer to happen. So he gets rid of him, no problem whatsoever, and now it's just 2 tanks left alive, and one of the players, who is a real player, is actually capping base C. So he's going to have to do something. Still 2 minutes left on the clock, 4.9k damage, 3 kills, and now he is just going to push the base. We know that there is someone around the C area, and I think he knows that there is someone around this B area as well, as it was the KV2, and who obviously bounced him earlier. He is a one-shot, but he's spotted, so he just needs to really take care of him. The KV2 can take him out in one shot, and as I've said, he is actually a real player, so he needs to be very, very careful. And now the 88 is also a reroll, may I add. He's only got sort of 200 odd games with a higher win rate. So there goes the KV2, and now it is literally player versus player, 2 rerolls versus each other, and whoever comes off is pretty much better. But the 88 isn't a great tank. I don't know why people want to re-roll and play the Death Star line. I know I wouldn't re-roll to play the Death Star line 100%. But he's going to now just circle this guy. He is losing on supremacy points, but as I've said, he's got the DPM. He's just going to stay close to him, shooting that hatch with APCR, brings him down to a one-shot, and he is going to take him out. So that game, in a T43, he manages to block 1,000 damage. He gets 5 kills and ends on 5,600 damage with a Kolobanov as well. Now, one thing I would like to see Wargaming add, if it is against bots, take away the ability to be able to master tanks. I mean, look at this guy, 0000. That is a bot. Next up, who else we got? There's the reroll who we've been watching. We have the P43, a bot. As you can see, all this battles is 0. Everything is 0. There's a real player in the Bulldog there. We have the KV2, which is a real player, a reroll. I think he's a reroll. Then we have the T25-2 there, which again is a bot. And then also we have, what else we have? We have a real player there, and we have a bot there. And I think we got another bot, which is there's a real guy there. And I think the KV2, as I've said, he's a real player. and then we have a real player in the M4. I mean, these guys don't have high battle counts, but you can see that they're not great. And a bot there in the VK with 0 games. So what do you make on it? Should Wargaming lower the bots in higher tiers? And should you still be able to master tanks against bots? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye. With